Welcome to the Create with Katrina Julia show by Fit Life Creation, where we talk all the things on wellness, faith, marketing, business, and travel to create a life and business you love. I've been there, friend. I've walked from fear to faith, self-hate to love, corporate to calling, and bondage to freedom, along with transformation in every area of my life. I'm right here with you, walking along on my own path to creating. So tune in so that you learn how to create a life and business you love, hands-on. Let's create it. Welcome to my annual series on 75 plus tools and resources to create a life and business you love. To jumpstart your transformation with faith, wellness, money, marketing, business, and travel and community tools and resources. It's absolutely grown in every single way. But first, I want to give a thank you to babyboomer.org. I received a message on LinkedIn from Gramps, Mark, Jerry, Joseph. And to my baby boomers that are tuning in, I was just sharing about this with my mom. And you can find them at babyboomer.org. And Gramps Jeffrey and 4 others came together to find babyboomer.org, and they share so many different resources. It's the ultimate baby boomer news, guide, and community, from news to entertainment to lifestyle to relationships to health, travel, money, and tech. And he connected with me to feature this podcast and or some of our other content on their site, which I am deeply grateful for, and was surprised by the message as well. And apparently he had been tuning in for, I don't know how long, but for at least for several episodes. And as I was listening to episode 103 that is featured on the Baby Boomer site, I loved hearing through his voice and just the passion and the desire. And he is a return guest on this particular podcast and is sharing with the cool grandpa podcast audience that you'll see featured on the page, from things like tragedy to accomplishment to some of the greatest music ever written, to how he saw and they saw a need for the resource babyboomer.org, and so many other things, and so many contributors that you'll find, from blog writers to business growth and management advisory to consumer and personal finance, and so much more. So definitely, if that relates to you, and Mom, if you're listening, I know it likely will, because we were talking about it on WhatsApp a couple of days ago, and just wanted to say thank you again so much. So on this series with 75 plus tools and resources to create a life and business you love, I will be going over 7 different areas. So it's going to be a 7-part series, and some of them you will relate to more than others, some less than so. But take whatever works for you and absolutely, revisit, or the ones that relate or align for you, listen to. Some of them may or may not, but I definitely encourage you and invite you to be open to different ones, because all of them are absolutely part of my life, and all of them are instrumental throughout my own journey, as well as the community that's being created to create a life and business I love, and what I share for you to do to create it as well. So this series actually started in 2021 as I was reflecting on 2020, and I recently updated it. So for those of you that are just tuning in to me for the first time, let me give you a bit of a backstory. And you can also, if you prefer, some of you may prefer to listen, some of you may prefer to read or revisit and see the links, because some of them may interest you, obviously. So I have a full-length blog post that is linked in the show notes with the hyperlinks for every single resource as well. So a bit of backstory first. Are you on your way to create a life and business you love? Has 2020 through 2022 caused you to rethink, well, everything? Have you started maybe creating in some areas, but you have no idea in others, like making money and building a business? I so relate to you. I was you, I am on my own journey, and I've questioned myself more times than I may count on this journey of entrepreneurship to freedom. I have served in 7+ industries. I have an MBA and CPA. I've held jobs and worked with brands like Victoria's Secret, ConocoPhillips, top accounting firms, Fortune 500 companies, NBC The Apprentice, WeWork, Airbnb, and more. No matter how much external success I've had, there was times that I felt empty and unfulfilled. That was the biggest trigger point for me, especially circa 2010. Internally, life at certain points did not feel how I imagined as a little girl, like it would feel, or like it would look like. Especially in 2010, I found myself not aligned to passion and purpose. I didn't know what it was when I first started as a full-time entrepreneur in 2011, but I knew that I craved creating, transforming, and inspiring in more ways than one. All I know is we spend more time working than anything else, and or finding ourselves with free time all of a sudden, whether it's starting your own business and structuring your day, whether it's being laid off, whether it is finding yourself in a season of retirement. I wanted to wake up every single day filled with passion and purpose for how I serve people on the planet. I desired to help others create a life and business they love with health, wealth, and business. After countless failures and self-doubt, I knew I had to walk the journey out in faith and #CreateIt. Like many of us, I had no roadmap, no blueprint for success, or any extra money just lying around. Sure, I walked in with hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt from poor choices in spending and student loans, but if other people could create it, so could I. One thing I have learned, I will always bet on me and my God-given dreams, passion, and purpose, grit, grace, drive, and determination. Fast forward to now, January 2023, and over 8 years of full-time entrepreneurship since 2015, and then actually from 2011 to 2015, actually now fully. So Fit Life Creation, just to give you a bit of backstory on that, Fit Life Creation was created in 2015. So what you're listening to now and what you see on the website now was actually created in 2015. So that's the 8 years in the making. So it's, now so to speak, a young child. But I actually left corporate in 2011. So I've been, quote unquote, walking this out, figuring it out, now going into the, 10, 21, the 12th year. So I remind myself, just like I went to elementary, middle school, college, all the years in corporate, that things take time, and some things will be faster than other. Your journey may be faster in some areas than mine. You may choose to hone in on one area, because part of it is, as you're tuning in, if I haven't already said, and hopefully you saw the cover, that my name is Katrina Julia. I'm a multi-passionate entrepreneur, athlete, and creator and CEO. And I created this all-in-one lifestyle platform and brand, Fit Life Creation, with experiences, influencers, and fundraisers. At the same time, you guys, although I love being multi-passionate and I realized how I was boxing myself in and my purpose, and how I allowed the world to do that for years. It's also not easy to navigate.
Hey, you guys, I absolutely love Anchor. It's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. Not to mention, it is free. I've used Anchor for over a year now. I've been podcasting for over 3 years, produced over 400 shows, and I can definitely say I cannot see myself going anywhere else. Anchor distributes your show for you so that it can be heard on Spotify, on Apple, on Stitcher, and more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listeners. So that is also something that is totally different and that I did not experience before. There's tools that are built in that literally make it like podcasting for dummies. You can, not that you're a dummy, you're not a dummy, I'm not a dummy, none of us are dummies, but I just think of those books like such and such thing right for dummies. You can record, edit your show right from your phone, right from your computer. And you can even add any song from Spotify directly into your episodes. It's truly limitless possibilities for what you may create, whether it's music, your own show, or something the world's never ever heard of before. And not to mention, you guys, definitely go and download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. And keep in mind that when podcasting or starting your show, some things that I've learned to create your own show is that you definitely want to be yourself and share things that you're passionate about. Like I share about faith, wellness, business, and travel, and it's 100% me. So, what are you waiting for? Go create it, your own show with Anchor now.
Navigating being a multi-passionate entrepreneur often includes the challenges of clarity, creating, focus, and timing all in one. Because sometimes, and those of you that are multi-passionate, you understand this. Sometimes you want to create everything all at once, and you will walk through some of that will be wholeheartedly part of your journey. But one thing I would tell you is, if you can learn it faster to sometimes not do everything all at once, but then sometimes you will be doing everything all at once because your passion is on fire and everything is working. But sometimes part of the lessons or part of the journey is learning how to cut the clutter in a sense, or use wisdom or discernment on when, quote unquote, the right timing may be. And that's not always when we think it is. So that's definitely some of what I've been navigating. And especially within the last year, I would say, 2022. So actually, let me back up. There was a time, for example, back in 2014 where, I was working with the AICPA as an ongoing consultant, the American Institute of Chief Public Accountants or certified public accountants. And I was also then transforming radically my health and sharing it on social media. And in that 1 year, my business grew over 25 times just from sharing my social media, on sharing my before and after story on social media authentically, on shifting, this is how I looked before, this is how I look now, which you can see on my bio and, some of the series like Transformation from the Inside Out, and at fitlifecreation.com/creator. And it blew me away. And I was, I felt like at the time I was easily and effortlessly doing those two things, plus teaching at Georgia State and all these things. And then as I started creating Fit Life Creation, some things became easy, but then some things, weren't so easy. And a lot of that had to do, I would say at the time also, with my clarity, with my confidence, or sometimes lack thereof, or again sometimes listening to external voices that were not necessarily serving me or were right because they were speaking out of their own insecurities, doubts, or disbelief, and they're not me. And it's the same thing for you. That another thing I've radically learned and avidly practice is, in a sense, protect your vision and your dreams like a baby. And so you're like, what do you mean by that, Katrina? So, side note on vision, if you haven't yet, definitely tune into my last episode on vision 2023, a year ahead, for a vision framework. And I will have an upcoming video series on my YouTube channel, and I will share it here on the show. It'll also be on Skillshare, and it'll also be a course offering and an experience as well coming up. So, you know, what I mean by treating your vision and your dreams like a baby is that, I haven't had a baby yet, full disclaimer, but I imagine, or I've seen people when they have a new baby, or I imagine when I will have, a child, that you don't expose that child to everything and everyone, when they're a week, 2 weeks, 6 weeks, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months old. You're the main person around them, and or you and your spouse or your mate, direct or immediate family, and closest friends are the ones around that baby. And then you gradually expose that baby to others. And so with the vision and or with a dream, and it's different sometimes than with a baby, because sometimes your family and our closest friends will support you and will avidly speak life and encouragement, and wisdom and, discernment into your life. But sometimes they won't. And it doesn't matter if they have the same faith or the same, background, or the same, you grew up together. Like sometimes they won't. Like sometimes they just don't get it. And so it's very keen to be aware when people are speaking life and or death around you, because when your vision and or your dream is in those early stages, it can be a flickering flame, and someone's word can stomp on it and can cause you a deep discouragement, and disbelief or loss of identity, or just so many things. And especially depending on where or what or who you are holding your identity in. Okay. So, a bit more background about my story. So, awards and features have included being on the NBC and working for the NBC TV show while I was a side hustler in New York City, being part of the NPC Top 5, which is National Physique Committee, and placing as a bikini fitness competitor, working with communities like Airbnb, AICPA, Google, Victoria's Secret, Tribe, and obviously platforms via influencer marketing platforms, among others, ConocoPhillips, Price Waterhouse Coopers, and WeWork. I have walked from pain to purpose and continue to. My journey is nowhere near over. My transformation has included themes like walking from fear to faith, devaluing to purity, self-hate to love, corporate to calling, lies to love, pain to purpose, and bondage to freedom. Along the way, now 7+ years ago, I have lost over 55 pounds and become alcohol free for over 7 years now. I am an avid wellness aficionado. Through the journey, I have transformed experiences in 7+ industries, countless companies that all serve to increase my alignment to passion and purpose with our Creator's guidance. My money mindset and actions have radically transformed into awareness, abundance, and limitless opportunities with our Creator's help. Love Proverbs. And at the same time, I'm also in the middle of so much. I believe that the pain, the path, and purpose are limitlessly worth it. We've connected and created with a community of over 100,000 people. Our podcast last year actually made it to top 100. So thank you. And continue to grow our community, creators and creatives globally, online and live. In 2020, we ended up growing and reaching over 300 million across communities. I relate to what tips, tools, and tech make it easier and easier for me. Maybe you are starting over, or you're done with wasting your time on things you don't love. Get clear on why you want to create a life and business you love, and or how you can change your existing circumstance, your existing business or brand, your existing firm, and what you want to start. Once you're clear on that, take the first step. Start. Or as Nike says, just do it. Like I say, hashtag create it, or literally just create it. There are limitless tools to help you create a life and business you love that I'm sharing in this series. This list is years in the making that I have put together. I would have loved to have a list like this. Whether you are a side hustler, an entrepreneur, firm, and or brand, these tools will help you create a life and business you love. You will see clearly how they help you transform your mind, your wellness, your money, your marketing, your business and travel and communities, and automate and delegate more than you ever imagined with your business. And if you don't yet have the clarity, we can help you create it for sure. Whether it's this series, my free 14-day challenge, Create It Summit that you can find at fitlifecreation.com/freebies, and or how to build a lifestyle brand in 90 days or less. We have countless resources to help you create it. Like anything else, some of these tools and tips and resources will resonate with you and some won't. I'm sharing what has helped me in our community in countless ways. These are the tools I've either used in the past or use all the time. Most of the tools or resources I've used for over 7 years. You will find some links, our referral links, and our own community resource too. The first series or feature in this series is on faith and a faith focus. One thing I have learned is with a firm faith and mindset, everything changes. These are the resources that have helped me strengthen from the inside out. I know they will help you too. 1, Lifeway, your trusted resource for Bible studies, books, and Bibles. I've done countless studies written by Beth Moore, Priscilla Shirer, and Jackie Hill Perry for years. Mount Perrin Church, giving the world hope in Christ. Dr. David Cooper shares the word like the cradle, the cross, and the crown. Bible study ministries, women's events with Barbie Cooper and her team. There are also men's events, children's ministries, and more. When I first moved to Atlanta in 2000, this was my church home in 2000 through 03. And I also served in the middle school ministry, which impacted me in countless ways that you can read about even more or listen to on my episode, Transformation from the Inside Out, or on the blog. Passion City Church. Pastor Louis Giglio and Shelly Giglio have a heart for the church, showing it throughout Atlanta, the world, services, Passion City Grove, and Passion City Conference. I learned about Passion City through Jessica, a friend in wellness, who invited me years ago to the Grove, a gathering for women in Atlanta, but also they have features on and recordings on their YouTube channel. The love, joy, and value shown to us all drew me in. And I have since attended over 10 groves and served, attended live services, usually sometimes at the 5, and served at Passion City Conference in 2022. Transformation Church. Pastor Michael and Natalie Todd lead the church to represent God to the lost and found for transformation in Christ. I first discovered Transformation Church in 2018 via the Crazy Faith series. So if you were really looking to be encouraged in faith with insights both on a spiritual but also on a natural level, with focuses on things like maybe faith like a mustard seed, daily faith, like the daily disciplines, or crazy faith, you will love that series on their YouTube channel. Each and every message has radically transformed me, and series like Crazy Faith and Relationship Goals. I have listened to those numerous times and devoured probably all, if not all, of the series. I remember there was a time in 2018 where I was going through every single one. It is my online home church. I serve on the Transformation Live team on YouTube, sometimes on Tuesdays. So if you're on live on the rebroadcast, you'll often see me on, and am part of a B group, the Belong group. And keep in mind, for those of you maybe that don't believe, I once didn't believe or believed partially. So even to hear myself say or hear so many ways that our Creator and Jesus and the Holy Spirit have drawn me in radically impacts me in many, many ways. So please know, no matter what your faith is, no matter what you believe, you are absolutely welcome here. I have love for every single person that connects with me on the podcast, on the blog, on the show, on socials. I know what it's like to humanize our Creator and spirituality, because oftentimes people will disappoint us or not show us the love that we believe is unconditional love, and that we know and seek and desire in our hearts, whether it's our family, whether it's our friends, whether it's been people in the church, whether it's been people at work, whatever it is. So please know, in no way, shape, or form are you not welcome. And please know that in this series, I focus in on the faith component on this part. And then the rest of it, you will see it's wellness, it's money, it's marketing, business, and travel and communities. But at the same time, I start off the series with this after sharing my background. And I know I'm taking a risk in doing so, because I know there's different, points or parts of my life that maybe I would have turned off on something like this, or would have said, oh, I'm going to come back when she is talking about wellness or money. But I want you to know two fundamental things. Number one, I've likely been where you are, and I've double dutched. And I often say all the time that Jesus left the 99 over and over and over for me, because I didn't fully believe in the unconditional love and mercy and grace, and that I'm the prodigal daughter. That's all on point one. Point two is, no matter what, you're welcome here. And no matter what, you're prayed for. I pray for every single person. So you, my friend, are an answer to my prayer. So I hope that you hear the love in my voice. I hope you hear there is no judgment, there is no division, there is no disunity. You are absolutely welcome and belong here. And I encourage you, no matter what drew you, whether it was this part, whether it's any of the other parts coming up to build your business, to build your social media, your marketing, whatever the case is. And like I said in the beginning, some parts will invite you more than others. Some parts may trigger you. And that's the parts that I welcome you to go for a walk, go sit outside, go to the park, journal, whatever your practices are. Really dig deep into the healing and the wounds and the things that let the tears flow, whatever it is. And know that, you are not a disappointment. You are not a discouragement. I've been there. You are not too late. You are not too early. Depending on when you're coming into this, when you're listening, what your quote unquote age is, whatever it is. Don't let the world tell you that, whether you're 12 years old starting a YouTube channel, whether you're 70 years old and you want to create something brand new. Like, let me tell you guys some things actually on that note. There's incredible YouTubers that I follow, like the Mr. Beast, that has over 100 million followers. He started on YouTube, I think, when he was like 14 or 13, right? And many YouTubers I've learned that started that early or are that young. Okay. So just know I have zero judgment. I learn from everyone. Then there's a granny on Instagram that she inspires me so much. I can't think of her handle right now, but she's on Instagram and on TikTok. And like, she cracks me up. I think she's like 70 something. And she just posted a reel. She just posted a reel about, hold on, it was so funny. She just posted a reel about how she's over here like inspiring millions, and some of the people that she used to be afraid of, or worry about comparison or popularity in high school, are now dead, like something like that. And she like dances on there. Oh my god, it's gonna bother me now. Hold on, let me see if I can find it real quick. If I can look at my followers, and if I can see if I can sort it by the most recent followers that I followed. So as I'm looking for that, so I'm going to look for that as I'm chatting, so I don't take up more of your time, and see if I can find her. Oh my God, she's so awesome. It's Granny something, but sometimes Instagram doesn't find the exact thing. Okay, anyway, so I just wanted to share that. I felt led to and compelled to share that to you. So, prayer journal, it's 52 weeks of scripture, devotion and prayer, and I found them on Amazon. It's written by a woman named Shannon, and she's amazing. I did the journal 2020 through 2021, and it absolutely helped me grow and transform from the inside out in so many ways. So, a new addition is Live Atlanta, and that's spelled LIIV Atlanta. And Live is actually an acronym that stands for Love, Integrity, Influence, and Victory. So, founders Mayo and Kai Sowell started a church from Atlanta for Atlanta this year. I love their acronym. And if you know anything about me, I'm absolute acronym girl. Actually, FIT stands for Follow, Love, and All We Do, Impact People, and Transform the Mind. And the organization me and two of my closest friends started in college also as an acronym. You can listen in on that, on how transformation is required to create a life and business you love, and or on the blog. So back to Live. I learned about them via Letitia Gardner on Instagram, and that's her handle, Letica Gardner, Gardner. And I saw she always shares about her faith, fitness, wellness, family, and her marriage. And I loved how she was sharing about them. And I attended a social at a lawn bakery in Buckhead that literally is a walking distance from my house, you guys. So I was like, how can I not? It's right there. And in the fall of 2022, and I immediately felt so welcome in every way. I ended up showing early because I didn't want to walk in the dark. I think it's like a carryover from when I was traveling full time. So I didn't want to walk in the dark, and I showed up maybe like around 6:45. It was starting at 7 or 7:30, and it was so funny when I walked in. The pastor, which I didn't like, I had read about part of their like about section on the website before I went, but I didn't recognize him readily because it had been like a week or 2 weeks before. So Pastor Mayo walks up to me from the back, and he thinks I'm this other lady named Lauren, and then he's like, "Oh, hey, Lauren." He's like, "Oh, hey," and I'm like, "Hey." And it was like such a funny moment, but also such a sweet moment. And I could immediately feel like such a humble and open spirit. And I didn't even realize that he was the pastor, and he didn't even say that. He was just like, "Hi, I'm Mayo." And then later, when he came up and they were introducing themselves, I was like, oh, wow, that says a lot. Just the relatability and the connectivity and everything. And beyond that, also with his wife, Kai, I participated in a game, Two Truths and a Lie, that I'm really, really great at, because like so many things in my life, I feel like are so unbelievable. So people, when I play it, they're like, okay, which one's the lie? So I participated in that, felt super, super welcome. Honestly, from a live church perspective, more than any church I have ever, ever, ever attended. And and then also with the community, I met so many people like Mariah, Michaela, Shawnee. We did like mini small groups, just so many incredible women and incredible men that just align so well. Both in the spiritual and in the natural. And then they shifted locations, which it's a little bit challenging for me. And hopefully I'll be able to attend more and prayerfully in the future. I did intentionally go to their Christmas experience. It was at AC Hotel by Perimeter. And I definitely want to give a shout out to the Live Atlanta team, to the pastors, to everyone that set it up, to AC Hotel. Because immediately, like when I walked up, I felt like, yes, like I'm so glad I came. It was like immediate confirmation. They had this beautiful lit up sign. You can see it on my Instagram, Merry and Bright, that I got giddy like a 5-year-old child, childlike wonder. And everyone was laughing at me because I was like dancing in heels and a pink jacket and a sparkly outfit. So I guess, to the external eye, you wouldn't necessarily see something like that getting all giddy, but it did. It just made me giddy. Like it was like, oh, like all the things I love, about life, about Christmas. And then when I walked in, Michaela immediately like recognized me and said my name, was like, "Oh my God, Katrina, like we're so happy to see you." And I connected with her on faith, on travel, and all these different things at the social. And then it was like a movie moment. immediately I like literally it was like personally orchestrated by the creator. Like I to the left of like the hotel desk, Pastor Mayo, Taylor, and Lauren, the one that he confused me for before, were all standing there and they were like, "Hey, where have you been?" And like big hugs and like literally like instantaneous joy and like authenticity that like literally I was greeting long lost friends and long lost, brothers and sisters. And it like was so, oh my God, like that entrance. And then it got better. They had hot chocolate, which is like my love language. Okay. And these beautiful cookies. You guys know I normally don't do sweets or anything, but I did like a tiny, like, I did some peppermint bark that gets me some. And they had like saxophone playing downstairs. And then the service was on the rooftop with like beautiful like praise and worship. And you can see it on my Instagram reel too. Like two little boys saying, "Oh, Holy Night," which is like my absolute favorite Christmas song. And just a beautiful, intimate service on the rooftop, seeing the city of Atlanta, candlelight, a great word spoken by Pastor Mayo. And so just every interaction with them, both online and live, and I sent them, just, some of this feedback, also via email after attending the social. And then I also will send it to them on their Instagram as well. I felt so, just to let them know like everything, every single person involved in their, ministry matters. And I met Maddie and her beautiful family at, the Christmas experience. I saw Adrienne again, who gave me like I could have walked home, you guys. I told you I walked to the social, but she gave me a ride home from the social. Like so many incredible people. So I felt so seen, known, and heard, both in the spiritual and in the natural, with everyone remembering and recognizing me despite not going to a service or event since the social. As you can hear and hear through my voice, but imagine if it was you. And to me, what I've experienced with Transformation Church online, and I did visit the Crazy Faith offering in 2021 and now with Live twice, is the epitome of being salt and light and showing love, literally unconditional love. Speaking of, you also may want to check out my 40-day devotional, Self-Hate to Love, and more studies and guides that also I showcase on my series on the blog and on the show, and the one I mentioned, the transformation from the inside out. On the blog, I have a image of me at the Rio Celeste in Costa Rica, which literally, history or myth or legend or however you want to call it, that's been said for years, generations upon generations, about this river and about this waterfall, that our creator, that God took a paintbrush and touched the sky on a clear blue day and then dipped that paintbrush into the water. And that's literally what the waterfall and when the rivers converge at a certain point looks like. It is magical. The pictures don't do it justice. And yes, what's interesting is, quote unquote, the science. If you read my blog post or the show about that, the science meets the spiritual. Like it's so supernatural. They have a picture of me on the edge of the waterfall on the blog if you want to see that. And massive leaps of my faith in my journey include every area of life, from the spiritual, the mental, the emotional, the relational, playful, physical, and financial. And that is the foundation, whether you relate to it or not. Like I said, it's perfectly okay. And you are welcome here and you are loved. But I just wanted you to understand more about me, but also more about potential resources in case you are seeking or curious. Speaking of travel, years of full-time travel, I had one of the visions that I set years ago was to have, during several points in my life, years of full-time travel. And I never would have imagined it would be in the middle of a pandemic. The end of 2020, I left Atlanta and traveled through, short answer, 3 continents, 10 countries, and starting with travel to Costa Rica is one of the many leaps. And you can see both of those hyperlinked in the blog that is hyperlinked in the show notes. So I would love if you would leave a review on the show. Leave your Instagram handle if you desire, your website. I will absolutely shout it out. No problem at all. I love to create community. Tag me on Instagram at Katrina Julia Fit, at Fit Life Creation, at Limitless Global Girl. I will reshare whatever you share, I will reshare on stories, a post, etc. in my own stories as well. Maybe even invite you to more opportunities like features and joint reels and more. And as always, friends, remember, create, transform, and inspire. You are born to. All the chats on faith, wellness, money, marketing, business, and travel, so you create a life and business you already. Head on over to the blog, the podcast, and the freebies to jumpstart your transformation. If you're ready to dive into the online courses, the live events, or the retreat, and if you want to create with our community on an even deeper level, definitely check out our internships, our influencer collaborations, management, and brand engagement. Let's create it.